The city of Tucson is on the hook to find a location for a Greyhound bus station. The council will vote later this month about putting it side by side with the train depot downtown. Here to discuss that possibility are City Councilman Steve Kozachik and Kevin Madden, CEO of Madden Publishing. Welcome to both of you. I guess I'll ask you first, Steve, why do we have to do this? And first of all, address that. We have to find a location for the Greyhound station.
We have to find a location at some point. That point doesn't need to be now, and the location doesn't need to be the one that we're talking about now. So we have a commitment to move Greyhound to a site at some point. All that's driving the decision right now is the potential sale of the I-10 parcel downtown. If we don't sell it, then there's no barn on fire for us to make a decision now. If we do sell it, there's nothing necessarily driving it to this particular location.
So the location we're talking about is at the train depot at the far end, next to the train depot, well, in the train depot, and that is directly across the street from your building, correct, Kevin?
Correct. It's sort of catty corner to our building. It's on the corner of 6th Avenue and Toole, and it is adjacent to the train tracks on the north.
But you have some very strong opinions about the location or possible location at that site. What are your feelings?
Well, I do have very strong feelings about it, that it's the wrong use for that particular parcel of ground in what I believe is a very small downtown area. And the introduction of diesel buses to the tune of a couple dozen a day, and all of the traffic and congestion that that's going to generate is just not good for that part of downtown.
And why do you say that? I mean, aside from the congestion, there's a lot of momentum, if you will.
Well, there's just a lot of momentum. I mean, our office has been operating out of the MacArthur building that we bought a couple years ago and renovated, and have been working out of that. We have 70 employees in Tucson that work out of that facility for the last 14 months. There are a number of other businesses that have relocated to downtown. The Providence Service Corporation, they've got 30 or 40 people there now, and are expecting another 60 or 70 or so when they finish their renovations. And then, of course, the TEP building, when that's completed 1 year from today, or this week, I believe, a year from this month, they're going to be bringing an additional 350 employees downtown. So there's a lot of momentum going on downtown. It's going to be a vastly different place 1 year from now than it is today. And today, it's a very active and vibrant part of the city. It's dramatically different than it was 5 and 10 years ago.
So what is your feeling, Steve? I mean, you were voicing that you have some reservations.
Well, yeah, I'll mince words with you. I think the site is just colossal lunacy. We have, Kevin mentioned some big employers. I think it's a slap in the face to the small employers, the startups that are all up and down the downtown core right now. People who have got sweat equity and their own financial investment in trying to activate the area. So for us to take a prime piece of land, which we can find a much better use for retail, and continue to activate the space, and plop a Greyhound. It doesn't need to be Greyhound. This isn't a slam on Greyhound, but any kind of a mass transit sort of a facility there. Really, we're asking for gridlock. And we stage special events out of there all the time. We had All Souls procession last weekend. We have Second Saturdays coming up in a few days. This is going to really hamstring the ability of the city and the merchants downtown to operate the way that they are trying to right now. 11 years ago, when the idea first came up, it might have made some sense, but downtown is completely different than it was then. And we have a lot of small local business people who are throwing everything they've got into making this a vibrant area. It is small. And we're just to add another couple dozen buses, plus their parcel delivery service, plus the drop-offs and pickups. It's just the wrong place, wrong time, and we just need to find another location. And we've got other locations that have been looked at before. We've got some that haven't been looked at before. Quite frankly, the city of Tucson is paying lease on an El Campo property that's up the freeway. That might be a site. We maybe get some income off of something that's sitting vacant. Some other sites have been looked at before too. We need to direct city staff to go back and take a look at some of these other places that maybe need to be reconsidered.
Kevin, you made that commitment to move downtown, which you told me that you really enjoy. But I've heard from other people who are trying to get businesses started that it just seems a little bit duplicitous on the behalf of the city. I'm not naming names or anything, but here we're trying to get this going and make this place the heart of downtown. I mean, what's the feeling amongst people that you talk to down there about this particular move and ideas like that in general?
I think it's been a unanimous thought on everyone that I've talked to downtown, both business owners and just employees down there, that it's a bad idea for that location, and that it would dampen the momentum that's already going on. You mentioned some of these special events. I can envision a day in the future where downtown Tucson is largely a pedestrian community, that where there's thousands of people milling around every night, not just on these big events. And I think the infrastructure is set right now. There are lots of small little cafes and nightclubs and other things like that. The Broadway corridor, the Broadway frontage that Providence has and that Tucson Electric Power, even wrapping around on 6th Avenue, is all going to be retail. They've designed it for that, for coffee shops and whatever kinds of retail they can put there. So, but everyone that I've spoken with, I've not spoken with a single person that thinks that it's a good idea to put that facility at the Toole and 6th Avenue site yet.
And let's add one more thing to the conversation, because we're sitting here on the University of Arizona campus right now, and the university has an RFP out on the street now for student housing. Several of the sites that we're looking at for that are in the downtown area. We've got a streetcar that's going to connect the university campus down in through downtown and over to the west side. And this is just yet another element of gridlock. We're going to try and move student populations down there. Kevin mentioned the small retail. All of the startup activity that's about to start happening, and we're going to put a mass transit site right in the middle of it, is just asking to do nothing but just put a roadblock in front of everything we're trying to do right now.
And let's just also put it in the larger picture too, because we have spoken about this, but with the RTA, Regional Transit Authority investment, what we'll see is a vast increase in the number of city buses, Suntran buses. So here we've got potentially the Greyhound, the modern streetcar, and all these buses to the Ronstadt Center. So Kevin, how do you see that playing out?
Our building is directly adjacent to the Ronstadt Center. And today I'm told that there's 852 buses a day that run through there. Half or 3/4 of them circle right around the front of our building. And I'm also told that here in the very near future that is going to increase to like 1,280 buses a day. Most of those bus riders are transferring from one bus to the next. They're really not, their destination is not downtown. Buses reroute themselves, come in downtown, circle into the Ronstadt Center, people transfer on and off, and then they go back out on their bus line. That kind of congestion, an additional 500 buses into downtown, when that's not their destination, doesn't seem like the highest and best use as well, particularly as we continue to grow in the future. So, I mean, I think there's another issue besides the Greyhound bus relocation, and that is that the city bus station there at the Ronstadt Center. Is that the best use for that particular parcel of land? And will that additional traffic that those buses generate, will that be good for downtown? It's right in the heart of where most of the activity is going on downtown. We still need bus service downtown, don't get me wrong there, but not 1,200 of them. A few hundred that service people coming in and out of downtown. Buses, I think, will be a vital part of transporting people coming in and out of downtown, particularly if they're going down at night and drinking or having a good time. Ride the buses home.
And I saw you nodding your head.
Well, only because it is kind of a different conversation. I completely agree that if we have one parcel of ground in this city in the downtown core that is just begging for private sector development. It happens to be the Ronstadt Center. So if we can find a way to finesse that at some point, then down the road, then let's do it. At least take the southern frontage of it and you know, build that up with some private retail stuff. The other thing we haven't talked about is that you'll hear the argument that the reason we have to do the Greyhound is because we've got some federal money earmarked
$2 million.
to that site. Well, 2 points. Number one, let's get our creative minds going and say, if we have to use the federal money for something transit related on that site, then maybe we expand the siding for Amtrak. They're going to be coming every day from now on in the near future. Or maybe we do bike routes or something, but something transit related on that site that's not going to increase the gridlock. The other thing is this: if we can't come up with something legitimate for that site, don't just throw federal money at it just because you got it. Give it back to the feds, and don't hamstring the area just because we got the money to spend.
So what is the sunset on that money? I mean, do we have to spend it right now?
I don't know the sunset on it. I know that I have been told that it needs to be used at that site. So what's driving this whole decision is the potential sale of the I-10 parcel, and then the need to find a home for Greyhound. If we don't sell that I-10 parcel, there's no barn on fire, and we don't need to move Greyhound at all right now.
This speaks to this issue as well. Probably Kevin has heard this a lot. I hear a lot, and I know you do too, Steve, that there's a lot of criticism of the city as being business unfriendly. How do you feel about that, Kevin? I mean, within your experience.
Well, our personal experience in our purchase and redevelopment of the MacArthur building was nothing but spectacular, working with the city and everybody associated with it, with permits and all of that. I think the city and everyone downtown was very happy that we made the decision to do that, and we did our construction in, I don't think I can say record-setting time, but we started in like January, February, and we were in the offices in September. So that they were very helpful in that effort.
And we're going to stop you right there. You can
Okay.
talk about that at another time. We have a lot more to talk about, but right now we are out of time. I thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.